Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna paint a tree. Where it all began for me. Come on along, I'll tell you the story. The sketching in of the tree has begun. And now I'm going to be doing a little bit of color blocking. But this part of the video is me doing this tree and using up what's left on a palette. I have done a few paintings this week. This is what's left. I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to use what's here. So it's going to be a really odd beginning to this painting. But when I do a fresh palette, that's going to give me, you know, all the regular colors. But I'm short some. I don't want to be adding more to my palette. So I'm going to have to really think about how I do this, where I'm applying these colors, where I ultimately want them to end up. And yeah, so come along. I'm going to do a voiceover for the rest of this video, and I'll be telling you about how it began with a tree.
It's always fun to start a color block. It's one of the most energetic parts of the painting, as you'll see. I am just using up that palette, as I said, and I'm painting this great big tree. And like I said, every once in a while, I have to just paint a big tree. It really, now that I've been experimenting with abstracts, it is interesting to me to kind of get the flow and the color balance that seems to come naturally while I'm painting representational things, but then not so much as I'm painting the abstracts. And what I'm learning even from myself is that I need to trust myself more and in the abstracts and just go for it. So that's what I'm going to do. But the good old tree. Years and years ago, let me tell you this story. Years and years ago, we lived in Tanzania, and then we lived for a year in Kenya. My husband and I were dorm parents in Kenya to 22 11th and 12th grade boys at an international school. And while that was fun, it was really it was really interesting and challenging. I taught art to 5th graders and 8th graders, and my husband taught history at the school, and we actually had quite a blast. But I was doing artwork even then, and I even sold artwork in Africa. And when I was in Kenya, there was a store that even wanted to carry my work, and it was watercolors at the time, but I still did a lot of acrylic. And I had somebody come to me and ask me to paint an acacia tree in the style that they had seen in a hotel. And I had no idea what that style was. They had no photos. So I painted the acacia tree, and it apparently was not in the style of the painting that they had seen in the hotel, so they didn't buy it. But interestingly, I turned around and I sold it for double what I had quoted them, and it became a very popular piece, and I sold quite a few prints of it. When I returned to Canada, I painted everything. I painted, because when I was in Africa, I did a lot of figurative. So that acacia tree was one of my very, very first trees. So I came back to Canada, and it was like I was an art group. I had many, many different styles that I was using. You could kind of probably see my thumbprint in all of them, but I had many different styles. But I ultimately had painted a tree, one of these pine trees, and I went to Kingston, where my children went to school, and I decided to be part of a show up there so that I could go up there, visit them, but not be in their way and not make them entertain me all the time. So I did this show. It was fun, and I had somebody come and say, I would really like a version of this smaller tree, large, and she bought my very first 4 by 6 foot painting, very similar to the one I'm painting now. the style would be different, of course, because it was many years ago. But you'd still be able to tell it was me. And I was just thrilled because we negotiated a great price. I was so excited. And that began my tree journey. And since then, trees have become an iconic symbol for me. Yeah. The support of that first client in that commission was so important to me, and it really did launch me into a journey that I never really anticipated. And what's really neat is that lady now is painting herself, and I think she's doing really, really well. Every once in a while, she'll show me some work, and I'll give her a bit of a critique and some tips, and it's just marvelous to see what paintings will do and how they bring people together. So at this point of the painting, I think I am almost done my palette, and I'm observing and trying. Oh, look, I'm trying a new tool, spreading some paint there, but I'm just trying to use up but keep fresh that paint.
Hot mess. But that's it for today. We'll finish it maybe tomorrow. It's another day, and I'm back in the studio. Of course, the apron has to go on before I can begin anything. So today I'm going to fill a fresh palette. I'm going to work on my tree painting that you just saw me rapidly throw together. That was so fun, actually. I really did some stuff with abandon. I feel like I used a bigger brush. I decided that the color was just going to go on and that it would be my foundations. A little more layering to this painting is going to happen. And yeah, so come on along today and we'll work on this painting. Okay, so my camera ran out of battery. So instead of just going ahead and working, I decided while it was charging to get some other things done because I didn't want you to miss this part of the painting. So I got my palette ready, I cleaned up my studio. Actually, it looks really great in here. So now I'm feeling actually very, very motivated to work on this. And I always like a fresh palette. So here's the fresh palette. All right, I'm using a Magello palette that has a lid that has a bit of a rubber gasket in it, and that seals it, but I also spritz it with water. I will just, just kind of give it a little bit of moisture throughout the day so that it doesn't dry out on me. So you saw in my first bit, I was using up color. I didn't want to add back onto the palette. I wanted it to be done. So what I did is I used a big brush. I believe I used this one. This is a filbert. And interestingly, I don't know why I used a filbert, because do you see how clean and lovely this brush is? I hardly ever use filberts. But yesterday, I just wanted to get it in. This is nice and soft. I think I'm starting to use different tools because of the abstracts that I'm doing. Because with the abstracts, I find I am using filberts because I don't want the sharp lines. So very, very interesting. So I use this for the whole thing. And guys, I was fast, I was furious, lots of water. This is by no means got any detail. But I think it looks great. Look at the energy that came with this. There's a flow to this. It was so fun to just be energetic, and I felt like I really accomplished a lot. This is a big painting. This is 4x5, and I think it's gonna be great. Every once in a while, I'm in the mood to paint a tree. It takes me right back to the beginning. And maybe I'm feeling a little nostalgic because it's also the beginning of those babies that I told you about. The babies are coming home shortly. Maybe by the time this video's out, they'll be home. And but I've been thinking about them, new beginnings, all of that takes me back to my roots. So let me turn the camera around. I'll paint and I'll tell you some stories. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, share this video with friends. It helps. And please subscribe. Subscribing is the best way to help the channel. And I paint all the time, so you might as well come along. Right.
So here we go with the voiceover. I think I'm going to tell you a few stories, and then I'm going to put on some music and let you watch as the painting comes together. Like I said, I have a fresh palette here, which it just makes me feel like there's endless possibilities. I don't know about you. When you have a fresh palette, it just, it makes me feel like I can do anything. I can use any color I want. I can just put it all together. And as I use up my paint, sometimes it's just a real pain in the neck to go back and fill up the palette again, because there's a real fine balance of putting too much paint in of one particular color and not using it at the end, and then knowing what to do with the old paint and things like that. So anyway, I'm here with this big 4x8 painting, and I'm just instinctually, I think, putting in color using a bit of a smaller brush there. I talked about the big filbert that I used to block it in. So now I'm coming in with a bit of a smaller brush that I have a little bit more control over, and I'm gaining some control. I am developing shapes. I'm developing negative shapes. I'm developing where the color is coming out from behind the tree, things like that. And it is really a fun stage. So I had said to you about the babies. The babies are home. By the time you see this video, the babies are 2 weeks old, because every Monday they turn a week older because they were born on a Monday. So the babies are 2 weeks old. My daughter is absolutely doing great. The days are flying by. The babies are growing, and we get lots and lots of cuddles, but I'm still getting lots and lots of time to paint. I'm really excited because on tomorrow, my husband and I are going to an art show, and I think I will bring a camera and I'll bring you along to the art show. Would you like that? Let me know in the comments below if you think you would like to come along to the art show and see what some of the other artists are doing and who I gravitate to. You'll of course see my friend Brenda McCafferty, because she is in the show, and I'm really excited for her. She and I attended the show last year, if you recall that video, and this year she applied and she got in. So I'm really thrilled for her. And at this point, I think I'm gonna put on some music, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Please put down below any questions. If you see something and you're like, why did you do that? Put it down below so I can answer you. It gives me lots of content for another video. So it is really, you're doing me a favor when you ask me a question. So never feel like, oh, she won't see it, she won't answer. I might not answer right there in the comment, but I will answer in a future video. Okay, we'll see you at the end of the video.
Down on the banks of the Old Man River, heavy air calling rain. They say if she keeps up and delivers, levee will break again. Tell me, what could you do then when the river comes a-calling? Bend a knee and pray that you can stay in the good grace of the water. Storm, she stalled and danced. Days of rain and wind, mist hanging in the valley. Victim of a circumstance. Try your hand at sand, but no, the banks ain't holding. Old Man River rising 3 foot by the hour. Drop your bags and run, you know, surrender time has come to the water. High still waves are lapping on the bridge now. Seascaping in England town. Come on, children, make a run for higher ground now. See the fire, hear the siren sound. Surely land will return here, choked up to its neck in yellow mud. From the mountain now we go by foot and march back down to the water. Down on the banks of the Old Man River, heavy air calling rain. They say if she keeps up and delivers, levee will break again. Tell me, what could you do then when the river comes a-calling? Bend a knee and pray that you can stay in the good grace of the water. Storm, she's stalling and danced. Days of rain and wind, mist hanging in the valley. Victim of a circumstance. Try your hand at sand, but no, the banks ain't holding. Old Man River rising 3 foot by the hour. Drop your bags and run, you know surrender time has come to the water. High still waves are lapping on the bridge now. Seascaping in England town. Come on children, make a run for higher ground now. See the fire, hear the siren sound. Surely land will return here, choked up to its neck in yellow mud. From the mountain now we go by foot and march back down to the water. Trot on up and every single step it kicks up dust from the water. Oh, how it takes down on the banks of the Old Man River.
Okay, so you just watched a sped up version. What you saw was fully color blocked. So I'm looking at this with an eye of that I just finished the color block. I'm going to now leave this overnight, maybe a day or two, and come back. I can tell right away that I need to do some push and pull. I believe that on the camera it always looks a little bit more contrasty, so in person it's not as contrasty. I don't like this area. This area is not finished. The shapes aren't pretty. I need to make prettier shapes in my color. I gotta decide what's happening in the background. So this I have to do. I have to finish all my edges below and on top. But that was fun, and that was fun to do with you. I hope you really enjoyed that. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Helps the channel. Oh, and if you have any questions, if you see any glaring spots that you would change, I would love to hear that below. Tell me what your thoughts are as you watch me paint, and if anything surprised you, if anything jumped out at you that I missed, or that you would do, or that I taught you. See you later.